Well, that ends our Halloween Horror Nights vacation. Did you have fun?
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I'm very sad that it's over already. It seemed like it passed by like that. But that's okay, because it's only the beginning of the Halloween season. There's gonna be a lot more stuff going on before the end of October. And now we have a very, very long drive ahead of us. This is gonna be our view for the next like 5 hours. No, that's right, it is Sunday, so there probably won't be too much traffic, but even still, it's not a short trip. I know we haven't like given a full review of the houses or anything yet. What are you doing?
I'm getting crumbs off. I'm not making fun of you. Maintenance or something.
No, we haven't done like a full review of the houses or anything. We'll probably do that after we've had some time to like fully rest up, because my brain hasn't been working very well lately because I'm so tired.
It's 2 plus 2.
7.
Or the figure. E equals
L.
I love you.
Pi.
Thanks.
Alright, and after a very long drive, back home. Oh man, I'm so tired, but it's so worth it. That was such a fun trip. I don't do Halloween Horror Nights enough. Ever since the first year we went back in 2012, we always said that we were going to make it a yearly tradition. This is only the second time we've gone, so I really want to maybe try and make it a more often thing, because it's amazing. It is. I completely understand why it gets best Halloween event every year. Alright, so for those of you like in the know and know stuff about Horror Nights, I want to do a quick rundown of like how I rank the houses this year, because I've given it a lot of thought and I know what my order is and I know what my reasons are for it. So, starting from my least favorite to my most favorite, my least favorite was definitely Run, Blood, Sweat, and Fears. And it might just be because I'm not familiar with the backstory. I know that this is technically a sequel house, and I've never been to any of the previous years that had Run as a house. And it kind of sucked that, like, they had a video playing during the queue that was supposed to be explaining the premise of the house, and you couldn't hear it at all. Like, there was no the volume was turned down way too low. So the reason it's last is mainly because I didn't really understand what was going on. I mean, I know it was supposed to be like you were in this game show, but pretty much all it was we were walking through cages. I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm not gonna say that any of these houses were bad, but as far as least favorite goes, something's gotta take it, and that's the one. Next is The Walking Dead, and again, it wasn't a bad house, but just in general, The Walking Dead, I think, is just so stale. I think a lot of people are kind of tired of it. I mean, it had good production quality, it just, I don't know, nothing actually scared me in it or anything. It was cool to look at, but that's about it. And then we have Body Collectors. And again, this is a sequel house, which I am not familiar with the premise or anything. Again, it had good production quality. I did like the opening scene. It looked like you were outside, standing outside Shady Brook Asylum, and it was snowing, which that was actually pretty cool. But the rest of it, I don't know, it didn't stand out. It just seemed like another normal haunted house. Then after that is Freddy vs. Jason. Now, it pains me that I have to put this house so low on the list, because this was one of my 2 most anticipated houses. It could be that I just went in with extremely high expectations, but it disappointed me hard. I mean, the sets were nice. I really liked being able to see Camp Crystal Lake and see Elm Street and all of like the most iconic scenes from the movie, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me. Again, there was no scares in it. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead a little bit. Unless it was just a bad run-through, Freddy and Jason never actually fought. I never saw the 2 of them in the same room at the same time. And the only thing that came close to it was at one point you're walking down a hallway, and there was a video projection showing Freddy walking from this side and Jason walking this side like they were about to square off, but never once in the entire walkthrough were Freddy and Jason in the same area at the same time. And again, it could just be that I had bad luck and went through like during a cash change or something, but that was the big thing that really disappointed me. I mean, the house is called Freddy vs. Jason, but they didn't fight at all. So that's why I had to rank that one so low, and I hate that I had to do it, but that's okay. Moving on, next I'm going to say American Werewolf in London. I know a lot of people are ranking this closer to the bottom, mainly because it's a carbon copy of 2 years ago. But I wasn't there 2 years ago, so this was my first time experiencing it, and it was pretty cool. The puppets, the werewolf puppets were awesome, and the very last scene where, like, after you go through the scene where he kills everybody on the bus, there was like one last scare of like this giant werewolf that was like, he was like as tall as the building, like looming over you. It was pretty cool. So that's why I put that higher up. If I had been there 2 years ago, it probably would have been at the bottom, because from what I understand, it was a like exact copy from 2 years ago. And then after that, I'm going to say The Purge. Now, this one is kind of weird because as far as the quality of the house goes, you could tell that it was a last-minute thing. I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but I've been hearing rumors for a few months now that originally that house was supposed to be Scream, but something fell through at the last minute or something, so they had to quickly hurry and find a replacement, and they went with The Purge, which they did last year. They just transformed it into a house this year. So you could definitely tell that it was kind of last minute, but at the same time, I really like the Purge movies, and I've mentioned before in my vlogs that that missile or emergency alarm siren thing, for some reason that sound has always freaked me out, and that's actually why I'm incorporating that sound into my display this year. And I just thought it was really cool how when you first walk in, they do the emergency broadcast thing, and then you hear that alarm blaring around you. So I had goosebumps walking into that house. So that alone made that house worth it for me. And then the last scene, too, I thought was really cool, because it was just full of strobe lights, and it was really disorienting, and you couldn't tell what was coming at you, and so I did enjoy The Purge. Next is Asylum in Wonderland 3D, and this is the best 3D haunted house I've ever been in. It was made to look like a sort of twisted version of Alice in Wonderland, and walking through it, it felt like you were on drugs, pretty much. It was very trippy, and the 3D glasses were making stuff pop out at you and stuff. I thought it was really cool. It was very, very enjoyable. Alright, moving on, my second to favorite house overall was 25 Years of Monsters of Mayhem. Now, again, I haven't been to every single Horror Nights. In fact, I've only ever been to one before. So I didn't necessarily get all the throwbacks that were in this house. But the reason that I liked it so much was because it had throwbacks to my two favorite houses from 2012, which is the year that I went. There was a scene in there from Gothic with the gargoyles, which in 2012, that house actually got me a couple times. Plus, there were throwbacks to Universal's House of Horrors, which was there in 2012. And it's funny, I think I mentioned this on Friday in the vlog, but in 2012, when we went through the House of Horrors, I got scared by Frankenstein coming out of nowhere at me. And when we went through 25 Years for the first time, Frankenstein got me again. But yeah, pretty much, I mean, even though I didn't get all of, like, the throwbacks, I could definitely tell why each scene was pulled from its respective year, because every scene in that house was amazing. It was awesome to look at. They were actually fairly scary. That house got me quite a few times, actually. I think I mentioned this, too. There was, like, a shipwreck scene, and I got scared by an inanimate object, because you walked through, and I looked over expecting to see, like, I was always expecting somebody to come out at me, but I look over and it was an inanimate prop, like, really close to my head. So that in itself got me kind of good. And then last but not least, as you can probably tell by process of elimination, my favorite house of the year, in my opinion, was Insidious. And I love the Insidious movies. The first Insidious, actually, like, freaked me out, and it's rare for movies to freak me out. The second movie, not quite as much, but it was still good. But the third Insidious, again, like, upped the creepiness factor, and it kind of creeped me out again. So being able to walk through all those scenes and, like, see all the creatures and characters from the further was really cool. The only issue I had with it was the red-faced demon wasn't red. Like, his face was mostly black and just had, like, red streaks. That was a little strange that he didn't look exactly like he did from the movie, but I still really enjoyed it. So there you have it. That is my ranking from all 9 houses of Halloween Horror Nights 2015. As far as the scare zones go, I did enjoy pretty much all the scare zones. My favorite scare zone was probably Evil's Roots. I thought that one was pretty good. But all the scare zones were great in their own way. I was not disappointed with any of the scare zones. And I thought it was cool that there was, like, the surprise scare zones of the clown chainsaw maniacs over in the Simpsons area. I wasn't expecting that, and I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so there's me rambling on about Halloween Horror Nights. Again, the Halloween season is only just starting, and if you're only just now finding my videos because of Halloween Horror Nights, basically, my life revolves around Halloween. So, if you like Halloween, keep watching, because I work for a haunted house, and I do my own, like, haunt out in my front yard every year. So basically, I'm thinking about Halloween and doing Halloween stuff year-round. So if you're into that sort of stuff, stick around, because I got a lot of stuff for you. But anyway, no matter how long you've been watching me, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.